I tell you what, Megan Schutt, you look like someone who is the proud mother of a baby who is now more than 2 kilos.
2.1 now, so she's gaining those grams. It's actually makes my arm go a little bit numb when I hold her long enough now, which I'm not used to.
Oh, that is fantastic. Just early signs, though. What I really want to know, do you reckon she's going to be off spinner, leggy, fast bowler?
Pace. She has to be pace, or she's not playing cricket. So already telling her.
Well, yeah, it's got good. Well, she's got the genes, and it looks like it might be a test match for some pace bowling. So in the future,
Hope so.
young Riley, we'll look forward to seeing her. In the meantime, let's talk about this upcoming test and get on with the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our preview of the test match in this multi-format series between Australia and India. Pretty excited about this. I'm not going to tell a lie, and I'm extremely happy to have Megan Schutt with us here, Sporting News Australia. Of course, Megan Schutt will be out there with the new ball, but she's at home looking after her beautiful new 2.1 kilo baby, Riley. It's a pretty exciting moment. These don't come around very often. It's been, 15 years since Australia last played India in a test match. How do you reckon the nerves will be going for the Australian players and the India players going into this?
Oh, there'll be a few nerves around, that's for sure. I've got nerves that I'm watching. So, yeah, obviously it's been a while for Australia, India, but test matches don't come around too often anyways. So I think for me, the exciting part is day night, and it's in conditions that are going to be a little bit humid. The ball might be swinging. I just think it's an exciting time to play cricket. And given the ODI series we've just had against India, it's going to be a cracking 4 days of cricket.
Yeah, it has been set up beautifully, you would have to say, after what has been, especially the second and third ODIs being so exciting and so tight between these two teams. Now, if you're watching live, please do feel free to drop us a question or a comment in the live chat, and we will bring it up. We'll get to it if we possibly can. So our first topic for tonight is just about that, really, the conditions that I'm sure you would be salivating about if you were playing in this match. Rain forecast for the first 2 days anyway, pink ball, lights, pace and swing delight. Do you think that's going to be a significant factor in this game?
Yeah, look, I'd be licking my lips if I was a pace bowler. It's your perfect conditions, really, and I think given it's a pink ball as well, we're really going to have to utilise the swing early. From my experience, once the pink ball starts to dive, there's really no bringing it back like a red ball. So for me, the pace attack at the start is going to be really crucial, and we're going to have to look to use the pink ball as much as we can in a short period of time. But yeah, conditions are set to move, and I think it's going to be exciting. And given the rain, will the tactics of the teams change? I think that is going to be a crucial part of this test match. Everything I've been a part of with test, it's kind of, we've lost a little bit of time here and there, and it just, 4 days already probably isn't long enough. So it'll be really interesting to see how teams play it with rain about.
Do you think that they should be playing a 5-day test in these sort of multi-format series?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if we had the choice, we would be playing 5-day test for sure.
Wow. Well, hopefully there's not enough rain that it's going to eat too much into the time of the test match, but maybe just enough to make it a little bit exciting. One of the things that has certainly been brought up in the lead up to this is just that with injuries and also conditions, perhaps, is just what the teams might look like. So if we bring in our second topic, who might the captains turn to? I know that listening to Meg Lanning speak today to the media, she hinted very strongly that Australia might look to replace Rachel Haynes, who's obviously out, with a batting all-rounder, basically, or a fast bowling all-rounder, rather than going with someone like Georgia Redmayne, who's a opener for Queensland and more of a batting specialist. That means that we could see, by my count, up to 3 pace bowlers making their debut for Australia. You've got Stella Campbell, you've got Darcy Brown, you've got Hannah Darlington, you might even have Nicola Carey in there in the mix. Who do you, if I made you captain right now, let's get rid of Meg Lanning and make Megan Schutt captain of Australia. Yeah, she's gone. Who would you pick for your test bowling attack, thinking that the conditions might be favourable for pace?
Well, I think we've got a loaded pace attack anyways. So I personally would be choosing Georgia Redmayne to come in. And for me, my pace attack would be Darcy Brown, Stella Campbell, and then you've got Pez and Talia. So that's a pretty heavy pace attack. And then you bring in the spin of Molyneux and Gardner. And then, yeah, if Nick Carey comes in, then you've got overs there as well. So I just think even if we replace Rachel Haynes with a Georgia Redmayne, we've still got a heavy pace bowling attack to kind of make up for that. And I think if we weren't to do that, you could bring in an Annabelle Sutherland. And again, we've kind of just got bowlers everywhere. So no matter what, our pace attack is pretty fierce. I'm not sure I see Hannah Darlington getting a go. My only thoughts of playing her might be for a little bit of swing. She can nip the ball off the seam a little bit with a nice simple action. But I think with the other genuine pace bowlers in our disposal on a wicket that looks pretty green, I reckon they'll be going with a bit more of a Darcy Brown, a bit more pace.
And can you give us any insight? Who do you think will really shine with the pink ball, and what is it about them that you think will make them particularly effective?
I think we've already seen them shine in the ODIs, but well, Darcy Brown for one. But someone like Talia McGrath who can shape the ball both ways, like that's just amazing. You've even got more time to set up your batters. You know, you're going to have 2 overs of outswing and she's going to bring in that innie. Like for me, that's just, that's critical. So hopefully she gets to go with the new ball. That's what I would be doing anyways if I was Captain Meg. But yeah, most of our bowlers can swing the ball, which is handy. But at the same time, once that pink ball goes dead, which is pretty quick, we've got bowlers that can just bash it into the wicket and bowl a length that isn't comfortable for the batters.
What about with India? Mitali Raj said today that it's probably the best fast bowling attack that India might have had in her 22 years of playing at the top level. And sort of highlighting Meghna Swing, I like to call her that. I actually do it almost by mistake, and Julian Goswami, but also Pooja Vastraka, who's probably the quickest, and talked about her sort of developing her as a batting all-rounder. Do you think those bowlers will pose a challenge to Australia's batting lineup?
Absolutely. We saw that in the ODIs. Like for me, watching these games, their pace attack up front was brilliant. There's not much I can fault about that. They were swinging the ball, bowling a beautiful line and length, and they were making our batters play at almost every delivery. So we didn't even have a chance to settle and leave a few balls and get in. Like, for me, watching India, that was the best fast bowling that I've seen from them in my career, which has been a little while. For me, do I see Shikha Pandey come into the mix for this? She could swing the ball. It's a pink ball and we've got an opportunity to do it. Yes. At whose expense? I'm not quite sure yet.
Yeah, that's a really tough call too. Apparently, Shikha Pandey was bowling for quite an extended period in the nets today. So my spy Bharat Sundaresan was tweeting about a couple of big injuries. Rachel Haynes obviously out for Australia, but also it sounds like the news kind of coming in that Harmanpreet Kaur, that thumb injury, is going to prevent her from playing. Is that going to test both teams, do you think, in the way that they approach this test?
I think their approach would be pretty similar, to be honest, but that's 2 big leadership names. Obviously, you turn to those players a lot for each individual side, and that's kind of hard to replace in the fact that we don't play many test matches, and 2 players that have kind of been a part of both sides for a very long time and are now not playing this longer format that probably requires a little bit more tactic and feel to other formats. So, big losses in their own ways, but at the same time, as players, replaceable in a way. Like, I don't mean to sound rude, but their leadership qualities are what will be missed. And obviously someone like Rach Haynes she's kind of was a solid 100 to almost kind of give for a test match. So that's a big loss for us. And probably not the same for the Indian side, but in terms of the way she plays her game, that's a huge impact on the Indian side.
I'm just going to bring in a couple of comments. So Paulami Dars says, "We will miss you, Shooter." Just want to bring that up because yes, we will be missing you
Thanks.
in that test. And
Me too.
also another one from Paulami Dars saying, "So this is a bit of a technical one. I'm interested to see what you think. Is Meg Lanning's weakness on the balls coming towards off stump area being decoded by the opponents? We certainly saw an interesting battle between her and Julian Goswami."
I've been trying to decode that for a long time, and it's not happened. Look, I've played a lot of cricket against Meg, and I've gone the way of, her strength is also her weakness. So we'll bowl that area and then try and get a quarter gully. And we can have 6 gullies, 3 points, and 2 slips, and we're still not going to get her out there. And it's been frustrating. So I honestly think they're just bowling a beautiful line and length. Like the ball is moving, it's moving late, and you're troubling her. Like it's really simple cricket. Like Meg wouldn't be thinking too much into it, and I hope she's not. Like she's generally got out to some peaches, and that's one way to look at it, and that's cricket. But yeah, I don't know. Teams have been trying to decode her for 10 years, and I don't think anyone would truly decode it. It's all form.
Well, another batter who has been very difficult for anyone to decode in Test cricket is Elise Perry. Now, look, we know that she has had some real struggles. You were the one who informed us, which has been brilliant, that she had adjusted her run up, and Matthew Mott confirmed that. Sort of said it was more her alignment to left-handers seemed to be the biggest issue for her. We know that she's been working a lot with Mitchell Starc in the lead up to this test, and just completely breaking down her whole action. If you haven't read Bharat Sundaresan's piece on Elise Perry today in the Nets, I suggest you read it because it really shows she stripped it right back to basics. How hard is that to do, especially going into a bowling with a pink ball, long spells, something that even with Elise Perry being one of the most experienced Test players in the game, she's still only played a handful.
Look, that's tough. Don't get me wrong here. Like that's I wouldn't be doing it that close to a test match. I think Pez is such a perfectionist that's often her downfall. Like I'm an extremely casual cricketer, and if I'm not bowling right, I'm just going to bowl and keep changing random little things till it feels good. Like that's as simple as I get. Pez is a bit more technical, and it needs to be right and repeatable, which is fair for Test cricket. I just don't want her to give herself the yips, basically. Like everyone has a bad few games, and maybe she just needed to bowl in the nets for a longer period. Like that's the terrible thing of being a fast bowler is we're given loads, and that's really a structured time to work on your bowling. Like batters can hit 1 million balls a week if they wanted to, and that's fine. But bowlers have a set amount of balls that we're only allowed to bowl a week. So it's kind of frustrating when you are trying to work on something. You've got a short space of time, and then in that time, you still got to work on your stock balls and every other change-ups in the book. So, yeah, I just hope she doesn't overthink it. She had a bad few games, but yeah, to me, absolutely stripping it down might work for Pez. That would not be my tactic, especially flowing into a game. But if that's what's going to work for her, and I know that she works really close with Ben Sawyer, who is phenomenal at breaking techniques down and just putting things into perspective. Yeah, I really appreciate Benny and the way he works. So I think he'll be really good for her, and I just want her to come in with a bit of freedom and go, look, I've had a bad few games. That's cricket. Let's just try a few things and see if they work.
One thing I've been meaning to ask you is if you have made an adjustment to something like your run up, something technical, if it's not working for you within a game, is there a temptation to go back to what you were doing before, or do you generally feel like you need to keep going with whatever the new direction it is you've decided on?
I don't know. That's a tough one. Like for me, I'd probably go back. It depends how it feels. And if I know that it's something that I'm probably not going to be capable of repeating, then I'm probably going to go back to what it was and find some other little technical change. Like at the moment, I'm trying to work on an outswinger. It's not going to be possible to bowl a genuine outswinger. So I'm just readjusting my wrist to try and say, if I can just keep it straight, then that's a win for me. So I think you've got to find middle ground. Once you've been bowling an action or any sort of thing for a long period of time, any change is really hard. So if you try and make too many changes at once, nothing's going to feel right. And if you don't have rhythm, it's not going to come out well.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really fascinating to watch. One of the most fascinating things. A couple of quick questions coming in about India. Pooja Gossika asks, Harman missing out. Who do you bring in, Yastika or Jemmy? Bit of a tough one there because we know how good Jemmy is. But for a test match, Yastika has been brilliant for India, hasn't she?
I can't go past Yastika for that. Like for me, Jemmy's been awesome for a little period of time and shows such potential, but Yastika's just proved herself over 3 games of cricket, and you can't really go past that in conditions that I think will actually be pretty similar. So for me, she seemed really confident, and that is what you're going to need going into a test match. So I would go Yastika.
And another one from Pooja saying, how many spinners, all-rounders, pacers do you think India should choose? I guess that's a hard thing because their strength has generally been their spinners. And in test matches, particularly in these, we focus a lot on exciting Australian pace attack, but it really is the spinners who carry the load in this, isn't it?
Yes and no. In the past, yes. I think on a wicket that's been produced or a pitch that's been produced like this, it changes the game a little bit, which is really cool, I think, for both teams, because I think both teams think they have a really good pace attack. And as I said, I think conditions will be eerily similar. The rain as well leads me towards more pace bowling at the same time. So for me, I think it should be a more pace attack. And with the way that India's pace is bowled, as well as Australia's, but the way that Indian pace is bowled, that's what I would be backing to repeat that again.
Yeah, I'm really, really shocked and amazed that you would favour a more pace. That's something incredibly shocking.
Slightly biased, but.
And just one from Rahul Nutaki before we move on to our last topic. Mel and Megan, would you play Ash Gardner in the top order or down low? I mean, the rain might be really significant here, mightn't it? That's the thing about Australia's batting, is that there's a fair amount of flexibility within there, and you could almost perhaps have Ash Gardner there depending on what the situation is, particularly when it comes to the second innings, if Australia are batting last and are chasing, a certain target.
Absolutely. You kind of hit the nail on the head we pride ourselves in being adaptable, and I think that's exactly what our batting lineup is. Obviously, it helps to have so much depth, but each player can play a different role. I think if the 4 days is looking like no rain and it's a bit slower or whatever, I would put Ash a bit further down. But her strength is to hit the ball hard. So if rain does come into this and we can use her for tactics, we've got a weapon to unleash there, and I don't think we'd be afraid to use her at all.
Yeah, well, fearless is one of the 3 key pillars of this Australian team. And just finally, so on our last topic, just the key tactics, I guess. It's really hard, obviously, for the women. They play so few tests, and there's been criticism in the past of I guess, North Sydney, thinking about that, and that maybe Meg Lanning was a bit conservative or whatever it is. And it's so hard. But what do you think are the real keys? Does it come down to really looking at the game situation just in itself, or do you really have to keep an eye on the time of day when the sun goes down, when the lights come on? Does that play a big part in it?
I think it will in a day-night test. There's obviously going to be a lot more movement than there was at North Sydney. That was, I believe, a used wicket at the same time. So that was probably never going to produce a result, which was a shame. Conservative, I don't think Meg will be that. I think both teams will be looking to win. And in 4 days, I think we're going to actually get a result here. The rain might change that. Hopefully we don't get as much that it's going to take away a day or so. But I think with the way the wicket's going to play and the way that both teams are going to want to win, I believe we will get a result. Tactics will be different. And as I said, it's really going to be timing the new ball, attempting to, with, the sun going down. And that's what we've seen in men's cricket. Again, though, that pink ball doesn't swing for very long. So we've got to make sure we've got our bowlers ready to go at the right times, a couple warm-up overs with an older ball so that when they get the new ball, they're not wasting any deliveries. So those are more so the tactics I think will come into play. But I think Modi alluded to it, that for them it's just an extended one-day game, and I think they'll play cricket pretty similar. They just know they've got more time to build in innings.
Yeah, and just one final quick one from Rahul Nutaki, who says, pink ball tests are probably redundant, but win the toss and bat or bowl. It's your captain, remember, your captain.
I'm having a bowl.
That was
absolutely
the most predictable answer of all time.
There's no question to it. I'm afraid I would be someone that you could probably bet on pretty well and know what I'm going to choose there, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one. I reckon I could have answered that one for you.
I
Uh,
think so.
as ever, amazing insight from you. So thanks so much for that, Tudor. We will miss you being out there bowling and swinging the ball, hooping it around, but should be interesting viewing anyway. And after
Absolutely.
what we've seen so far in the ODI series, this is perfectly set up, and I hope it's going to be a cracker. I hope you enjoy watching it. I'll be back here at the end of each day's play with a review of each of that. We might get Jess Jonathan on for that and let Megan look after her beautiful 2.1 kilo baby Riley. But no doubt I'm probably going to be texting you throughout the whole. Oh, look, there she is. Look
Flexing.
at
That's
her.
my girl.
That's her. Oh, see, now I'm looking at the wrist position. Yeah, I reckon we've got an in swinger there.
Left armor, maybe even. Who
Left
knows?
left arm, the excitement grows. No, that is absolutely beautiful. She is a little cracker. So we'll enjoy watching the test match. Come back with us. I'm going to be texting Megan, obviously, throughout, asking her thoughts as well. But we hope you enjoy the test, and make sure that you give us a like, subscribe, and bookmark this. Come back and join us, and leave us a comment if you wish. And until then, enjoy the test.